Hello everyone, it's great to be with you, even if virtually and pre-recorded. I'm Dr. Amy Mullen and I'm here to speak to you about connecting with your teens. I'm doing it this way so that you can enter your questions below, comments, thoughts, ideas, and I'll get back to you tomorrow because I didn't want to have any glitches with the system or technology. But here I am. I want to talk to you about the thing that you're probably just as passionate about as I am, young people and teens. So connecting with your teen, why would you do it? Well, would you believe it if I told you that there is a study that says that you can get all of these results for your teens? Better grades, safer lifestyle habits, less drugs, safer traveling in the car, better relationships and better resilience, more success in school, and happier outcomes for the future. One thing, and you could probably guess, the one thing that they found in all of the studies and the research that looked at all of these areas for youth mental health and well-being is connection and communication. So I think it's a great topic, and I think it's great because there's so many things that we can do with our young people. There's so many things that we can do to connect, but sometimes it just seems hard. And we kind of put it in that difficult basket of too hard, too hard, too hard. There's never the right time. Sometimes it's awkward, sometimes they're moody. And it just really seems to be a struggle for some people. And the young people that I see when they come to the GP clinic at number 10, I just love seeing them and I love talking to them and I love hearing their stories. And I feel how lucky all of you must be to hear from these young people. But I realize they often don't share with their parents or their caregivers like they would share with a complete stranger because I'm a new person to them. They've never met me before, and they know they can walk away and not have to deal with whatever I might think about them. So it is difficult when you have connections to a young person to get them to share and to get them to open up. Sometimes it's really tough. So I want to acknowledge that here, and I want to take your questions and comments. What would you like to get more out of with your relationship with your teen? Maybe just put that below. What would you like to get more of with your relationship with your teen? And some of you, I know, okay, you might be saying, I would like to get less of the attitude, complaining, resentfulness, whatever those things are. Yeah, there are some tough things and struggles that teens are prone to, but I'm going to give you some secrets today that might actually help you understand those teens in a way that you never knew before. So you've probably all heard of the teen brain, right? The teen brain is under construction. It's not broken, but it's under construction. And the awesome thing about the teen brain is where you go from being a child where the brain's just absorbing and taking on everything, the teen brain starts to snip. And it's actually cutting connections to unnecessary things. And it's where you form that plastic part of the brain where things are changing and growing and evolving, and you're developing passions and things that you're excited about and things that really motivate you as a teen, or at least it should be. So these are the things to look for in your teen. Are they developing interests and hobbies and things that they enjoy? Are they spending time with family and friends that they appreciate? Are they spending time with people that appreciate them? If they're not spending time with people that appreciate them, or the people that they're spending time with aren't appreciating them, that's something to watch out for. So look at the time when these brain cells, and just think of these young people as these connections just growing and cutting and bonding and connecting and deconnecting. They're really streamlining those pathways so that they can quickly access information when they need it. And they're developing emotional bonds and connections that are so, so important. And that's why COVID's been so disruptive for these young people. It's cut their connections to live, in real life interactions with their other young people, and that's what they thrive on and they need so badly and they crave. And it's replaced it with social media connections. Now the problem with social media connections is it does the complete opposite effect on the brain. Instead of making connections and pruning connections, it just focuses on one thing, and that is dopamine. How many hits can I get? How many likes can I get? How much approval can I get from the social media post? Do you know young people actually delete a post if they don't get enough likes or enough approval or enough positive comments? Yeah, that's a thing, because they are purely focused on the tunnel vision of getting the approval from social media. That is not a well-rounded experience that they would get if they were with their peer group or with other people that care about them and appreciate them, without just that single vision focus that isn't going to give them what they need in a well-rounded way where their brain can develop. So in the meantime, unfortunately, we've had to come in and fill in for our teens, and so that can be a bit of a struggle. So don't be upset if they seem a bit resentful about being restricted from doing all of the things that they were hoping to do, and getting out and exploring with their friends or traveling or having the educational experiences that they were really hoping for. It's a frustrating time for them as much as anyone, even though it seems like sometimes their worries and concerns aren't life and death. They really are, because that is how their brain develops, and that is how their brain grows, through experience, through trial and error learning. A lot of it, unfortunately, just needs to be them getting out there and doing things and experiencing things in real life. Social media just will not cut it, and social media in so many ways have been shown to be detrimental to the teenage brain. So with that said, the teenage brain, yes, the frontal lobe here is what is under construction, and the frontal lobe, this front part of your brain right here, this is the part of your brain that says stop. It stops you from saying a rude comment. It stops you from doing something embarrassing. It stops you from doing something dangerous. So that is the part of the brain that's under construction, and that's why they struggle so much of the time to say the right things and do the right things, even though they know the right thing, but it just doesn't come to them in time. Or they know the thing that they shouldn't be doing, and they just can't stop themselves in time. So they need maybe an extra 30 seconds or so, or maybe much, much, much longer to use that part of their brain and engage it. So what we can do with our young person by connecting with them is we can let them use our frontal lobe, that part of our brain, the judgment part of the brain, and we can just say, here, I'm gonna let you borrow it, and actually discuss that with them and explain how it works. Because the teenage brain operates on the limbic system and the amygdala. Now, this is the part of your brain that is emotional, pure emotional. And that's why for teenagers, everything seems huge. Everything seems ginormous. Friendship breakups, relationship breakups, disapproval from people that matter to them just seems so huge, because it is, to their brain, that emotional breakup is like a life and death experience. That part of their brain, the amygdala, is overactive, and that's where it's also learning and growing to deal with empathy and kindness and resilience. And that's why the teenage years are such an exciting time for growing these things in our teens and teaching them what differences are all about, and acceptance, and teaching them how to accept themselves most of all, because an accepting teen is going to make a teen that accepts themselves is going to make a teen that's much less likely to bully or to lack acceptance for their peers or for others in their community. So just think about this brain that's developing, and think about how exciting and amazing it is, but how frustrating for them, how discouraging for them when things that might have seemed easy before now are suddenly difficult, because this brain processing has kind of slowed things down, and they start to do things that they kind of wish they weren't. And some of that might be the irritableness and the frustration that maybe you're seeing in the home at the moment. And that's what I hear a lot of parents telling me. They are struggling with teens and their attitude, and it's tough at the moment. The other thing that explains this is very fascinating. A study that they did on the teenage brain by scanning thousands of teenage brains, putting them in a scan and having them look at pictures of faces where you see an expression on the face and you say, what is this expression? An expression that you or I would clearly see as discouragement, sadness, confusion, the teens read as anger, anger, anger. So they're interpreting and they're reading anger in places where we are not angry. They're interpreting judgment and criticism where we are not judging or criticizing. So that's a teen thing. So just realize that and understand that when you're communicating with your teen, that they might interpret in you judgment, criticism, or anger when it's not there. And you just have to be very cautious how you phrase things and word things. Another thing that we know about teens that's really interesting, and to me as a parent, exciting, they expect us to step in. They want us involved in their lives. They want us contributing in their lives when it's a matter of safety and morals. So morals, I don't mean by what you think is right or wrong, but what the general rules of the world exist. Things that are illegal, they want you to step in and say, we don't do that. Things that are unsafe, they want you to step in and say, you're not allowed. Because if they don't have a parent backing them up, how are they going to say to their kid, their friends, their peers, I'm not allowed to do this? They need to have a parent. So you as the parent or the caregiver can say, hey, blame me. Say, mom doesn't let me do that. Or dad would kill me if I did that. Not literally. But if they have their parent in their corner saying, we're not going to break rules. We're not going to let you break the social media rule of you can't be under 13 to get on Facebook, for example. But if they see you breaking rules all the time, if they see you telling little fibs all the time, if they see you crossing those lines, what do you think they're going to do? So that's the other thing. What is our example and our lifestyle and our choices? What are they showing our teens? Our teens are very perceptive and they are noticing and watching and listening all the time. So actually what you don't say is way more important than what you do see. So think about your actions and think about your example and think, is this the example that I want my teen to follow? Because we have to be doing and living a life that we would want our teen to be doing and living. So think about that. Are you kind? Are you empathetic to others? Do you talk badly about others or do you talk kindly about others? Do you tell lies and many fibs? Your teen's probably going to do the same. So that's something else that's really interesting to me. So back to the research that says teens want us involved, they do. So whether you believe it or not, your teen wants you involved. When it comes to a matter of safety or right and wrong, if there's bullying, they want you involved, whether they say so or not. If someone's in danger, they want you involved and they expect you to be involved. That's what the research has studied and showed, and the surveys that they've surveyed thousands of teens has shown. The teens want you involved. The other thing is, you might think, my teen doesn't actually care about my opinion. They only care about the opinions of others. Well, that's another thing that we found out is false. Teens care very much about their parents, their adults' opinion of them. And your approval is so important. So when you listen to your teens, when they're sharing their ideas, when they're saying things, make sure you don't come across as critical or controlling. Make sure you come across as supportive and loving. Unconditional love is what our teens need. So they know that they cannot do anything to lose your love. They are afraid of that. They're afraid of doing something that might lose your love. And so many people end up down in mental health because they are afraid that they have done something that is unforgivable. So let your teens know, no matter what you do, whatever you do, I love you and I accept you no matter what. You don't have to agree with the behavior. You don't have to approve of what they say and do all the time, but you have to let them know, I will forever love you no matter what. And you can talk to me. Now, sometimes it's scary when teens talk to us. Sometimes we get too much information, and maybe that's not the funnest thing. But the other thing is, research has shown the more you know about your teen, the happier they are, the healthier they are, the safer they are, the more successful they are, the better resilience they have. The more you know about your teen, the better off they're going to be all around in life. And this is not quizzing them nonstop and saying, where are you going? Who are you going with? How long are you going to be there? That's the old way we used to do it. It doesn't work so well. A better way to do it is just to talk to them about what they're excited about, who they're excited about, where they're excited about, things that they're excited about and enthusiastic about. And I know this might not come at the most convenient time. Often it's at midnight. So make yourself available when your teens are ready to talk. Listen to them. It might sound unimportant, but it's giving you crucial information of where they're going to be, who they're going to be with, and what's on their mind. Because if you know what's on their mind when things are going good, then when things start to take a nosedive, you're going to notice, oh, wait a minute, things have changed. But if you don't even know their baseline of what's going on when things are going well, when things start to take a nosedive, you might miss the signs. So pay attention to what your teens are saying, listen to them, even if it sounds unimportant. So many of those clues you can pick up and can give you information that will really help you. The other thing about teens is where they don't want us to step in. They don't want us to step in when it's a personal choice. When they're making a decision about a friendship or a relationship or things like that, it's easy for us to see them in crisis mode and their emotions up to here and their frustration and their anger, sadness, whatever it is. And we want to come in like we did when they were 5 or 6 and just scoop them up in our arms and just help them and reassure them and fix the problem. Well, teenagers don't want that. They probably want a hug. Sometimes they want a hug. But mostly they just want you to listen. And to be clear, you can even ask them, you can say, hey, is this a brainstorming session? Do you want to hear some ideas? Or do you just need a listening ear? And they'll usually let you know once they realize that you can actually listen without getting too involved or too emotional. Now, the other thing is, we know for a fact that if your emotions are up to here and your teen's emotions are up to here, you're not going to be able to calm them down. So only a calm person using the front part of their brain, that's the frontal lobe, a calm person, we call it the upstairs house. So say you have a 2-story house, and if you're in your upstairs brain, that's the calm, the reasonable, the decision-making part of the brain where things, you can just deal with whatever life throws at you. The downstairs brain, you're down in the basement. Things are not good. You're throwing stuff. If something comes along and someone annoys you, boy, watch out, they're in trouble. So just keep a measure of your own mental state when you're talking to teens and think, am I in my upstairs brain or am I getting down? Am I going down the stairs just little by little? And that's when your frustration is building. Maybe you're feeling anger, sadness, disappointment, all of those big emotions. And those are things to realize, like, okay, I have those emotions. I have to own my own emotions and not put them onto my teenager. So listening to your teen, get in the right headspace. If your teen's way down there in the basement and things are falling apart and their emotions are out of control, just go down there gradually and bring them up to their upstairs brain just by reassuring them and helping point them in calmer directions. Maybe you can learn some mindfulness techniques and share them with them and just do some breathing exercises together so that both of you are benefiting from some of these exercises. Or maybe you just go for a walk together, or play cards, or do an activity that gets your mind off of the big emotions and the frustration. And then when you're both calm, you can come back together and talk about it in a calm and reasonable way. Because if you're not calm and your teen is not calm, you are not going to accomplish anything, at least not anything positive. And the damage that can be done at times like that can last forever. So watch what you're thinking and saying to your teens when they're talking to you. And when they're talking to you, just try and give them your 100% focus. Don't be looking at your phone. Don't be thinking about other things. I know it's hard, but really listen to your teens. They sometimes feel like you're too busy for them. They sometimes feel like their parents have more important things to do than to listen to them. They sometimes feel like their problems are too small when you have actually huge problems, and they sympathize with your problems. They might not tell you that, but they tell me that, and they say they really do see how hard that you're working to make their lives better and to help them improve their lives and to have a great life. Yeah. So your teens do see that and they do appreciate that, but sometimes they feel like maybe their problems aren't big enough to warrant a discussion. So reassure your teens that you want to be involved in their lives. Reassure your teens that there are boundaries and you do have expectations for them of following the rules, of doing things that are safe and doing things that are kind, of not bullying and of not breaking the law. And doing safe things, whether they're driving or wearing their seatbelt and not drinking while they're driving. All of these things are expectations that teens want you to share with them. Because we can go on the opposite extreme and we can just say, hey, I'm just going to be your friend. But your teen doesn't need a friend. They've got enough friends. They need a parent. And as a parent, it's your job to set those boundaries. Because if you don't give them boundaries, they're just going to have no idea which direction to go. They're going to be lost and confused without those boundaries. And they're going to struggle for their entire life sometimes without some sort of semblance of what is right and what is wrong and what you expect out of them. Now, be sure your expectations are reasonable. Like I said, not everyone's boundary is going to work for another person, but I'm talking about safety and doing the right thing and following the rules to keep everyone happy and healthy. Share those things with them and let them know that's what you expect in a matter-of-fact way, without judgment or without condemning them, so that they just know you care about their safety. Because if they think that you don't care about their safety, they might go out and use drugs. If they think it's not important to you that they use safe sex, they might go out and get an STI or get pregnant unless you tell them that actually that's important for their safety and you're concerned about their safety. So let them know you're concerned about their safety. Let them know that you care about them doing the right thing, and show by your example also that you follow the rules and do the right things, as that's just as important as your words. Now, the other thing that we know about teenagers is you might know that you love your teenager, but does your teenager know that you love them? Because in research, that's another thing that's been proven. Not how much the parent loves their child, but how much the child knows the parent loves them. So think about it and think, what would my child say? Would my child say, I know for a fact that my parent or caregiver loves me. I know for a fact that my parent or caregiver is in my corner, and no matter what, I can talk about it. No matter what, I can share it. So try and do those little things that communicate you care, but just flat out say, I love you, I care about you, and share all of the things that you think are special about your teenager. As much as they might roll their eyes and sigh, they love it, they need it, they are desperate for your approval, and they're desperate to hear those things, specifics that you really appreciate about them and love about them. Catch them doing what you want them to do, just like little kids. We say, catch them doing good, and just really heap on the praise and the approval for those kind of things. They need it, they thrive on it, and they love it. So what else can we learn from our teenagers or listening to them? I actually did a survey of some of our local teens. I thought, forget all the research in the papers, I'm going to actually get some real people. And I got them to give me some ideas and thoughts about what they would like adults to do. And so one of them was actually, I thought, quite good. They said, don't gang up on kids. So not too many adults trying to get information out of a kid at a time, whether this is in a school setting, counselor setting, or parents. Maybe just one-on-one. Side by side is a good way, especially for boys. In the car, driving somewhere, just chatting with them and saying, hey, what's up? Or having a few key questions that you can say, even just if you say, what was the three best things about your day and one bad thing? Or you can even institute worry time. Some kids are really worried all the time, all day long, and ask you questions about what's happening and what are we going to do and what if this and what if that. You can actually institute a 15-minute worry time once a day if you want to. It works really well. I've tried it myself with my kids, and you can just say, tell me everything that worries you, and you just listen. Often getting those worries out of their head and saying it out loud just allows them to see, oh, okay, it's manageable. All of these thoughts and scary ideas in teens' heads are so much more uncontrollable until they share it. And when they share it, that burden is lifted, and you don't even have to fix the problem. They can just share their worries, and you can say, that sounds really tough. That sounds like a struggle. Oh, you must be really afraid or frightened or frustrated or angry or whatever. Hear their emotion, say it back to them. Helping them label the emotions is so much more important than solving all of their problems for them. Do you know what they call a parent that solves all of their kids' problems? You've heard of a helicopter parent, right? That's a parent that comes in, swoops in, picks things up and rescues and drops things off, whatever. Well, a parent that just smooths the road is a snowplow parent. If you go ahead of the kid and get rid of all their problems, they're not going to learn resilience. If you try and solve everything for them, they're not going to learn how to problem solve themselves. And we want to raise young people that are happy and healthy and able to go out into the real world and solve their own problems, right? So by you being there as a sounding board, that is way more important than going out there and making phone calls for them, finding them a job, doing all of these other things that actually they probably could do themselves. So when your teen comes home and says they hate their teacher, or they hate their job, or they're upset about this, that, or the other, listen to them. Hear them out. Spend way more time listening to them than giving advice. And that will make a big difference. And if they want advice, think about some common, simple things that they can do, but better yet, ask them what they think they can do. And often they already have the answer up here. It's just taken a while to come out. So with young people, definitely give them time, give them space, and listen to them. The other advice that I got from these teens, they said it's good to admit that you're not perfect as an adult. If the adults go around pretending they're perfect, what are the kids going to do when they're struggling? Put on that mask, pretend that they've got it all together, not ask for help. Are you as an adult good at asking for help? We all struggle with that, but show a good example by asking for help for yourself. If you show your teen that you can ask for help and accept help and change and grow, then they realize that they can ask for help and receive help and change and grow. Be a good example for your teen of what you want to see in your teen. The other thing from these teens that we surveyed that they said that would be really helpful is if adults just spent time. It's as simple as that. Find an activity that your young person likes, whatever it is. Paintball, playing video games, going for a walk, batting a ball, exploring a forest tramp, whatever it is. If you can find something that your young person is passionate about and do it beside them, they're going to appreciate you so much more. And when they need you, they're going to come to you because they realize that you care about what they care about. And if they're interested in something, show your interest. If they're excited about something, show your excitement. You might not think it's the greatest idea in the world, that's okay, but show your excitement anyway and let them know that you love that they come up with ideas and you love that they're excited and you love that they're enthusiastic. And if the idea is a great one, it might fly. If it's a terrible one, it'll probably fizzle out and you don't have to say anything critical or negative because kids get too much of that. Too much criticism and negativity shuts their brain down and stops their empathy and their resilience, their ability to create and grow. Because at the moment, their brain's just firing off in all directions. All of these ideas sound great to them. And as long as it doesn't risk their safety or values or morality, or they're not breaking any rules, no need to criticize, no need to critique, which is easy to do, I know, out of habit. But the other thing that we got from the teens that they said would be really helpful is getting to know their friends. So sometimes it's a struggle, but getting to know their friends, even if you know one or two little things about their friends, helps a lot. But on warning note, be careful that you don't become overly involved or overly empathetic. For example, Sue may say she hates Sally and they are having a big fight, and you might say, oh, yeah, I never liked her mother anyway. So what's going to happen when your daughter Sue says, or tomorrow, makes up and their friendship's good and everything? The next day, she's not going to tell you that they're back on again because you've already shared your opinion by over-empathizing and she doesn't want to displease you. So they're back friends again and you'll never know because you got over-involved and over-empathized. So just keep your comments neutral and just let your teen know that you believe in them and you know that they'll do the kind thing, the helpful thing, the right thing, and let them solve a lot of those social problems and relationship problems themselves, because that's not where you need to get involved unless it is, like I said, a safety issue. So hopefully these tips are helpful. Hopefully you've got some ideas to improve your relationship with your teen. If you have any thoughts or questions or more ideas or comments, put them below and I promise I'll get back to you and we can have another one of these talks another time, or I'll just respond if you have some questions there in the comments. Okay, enjoy your day. Take care.